Hello there, welcome to another podcast with me, your host Carul Swords, where we discuss tools for marketing and promoting your book, getting it read, and if you so choose, making a career or part-time living out of your work. If you haven't listened to the podcast before, basically I outline my experience of various tools that are available to you to promote your work and get it out there. Today we're going to talk about book covers. I'm probably not going to deviate too far from what you might have heard already, but it's just simply, I guess, to reinforce some of the kind of principles behind book covers and their design. So why I'm doing it, if you hear enough people say these things, then maybe you'll understand that they're important. So straight off the bat, if you are not a graphic designer or someone who has an understanding of and experience in creating artworks, and in particular artwork that would be used in a book, then you really shouldn't do your book cover. Now, if 3 books in over the course of a year and a half or 2 years, you really start to get your head around it, if you've been kind of studying what is a good book cover and what is a bad one, and you've been doing work for maybe other people or just on the side for yourself, and you feel you can now put it out there, by all means do so. But if it's kind of your first efforts, it's your first book, you should really consider getting someone else to do that. One of the major issues, I guess, with a book cover, at least in terms of deciding to take the leap and get someone else to do it, is the money. And I totally understand where you're coming from. I can appreciate it, you're on a budget, but these are one of the things that you can't really get out of. It's a little like having an editor. You should really have someone outside of yourself who has the experience in the field to edit it, and it's the same with book covers. If you are on a budget, and well, we're on a budget, but if you're on a smaller one, then I would recommend there's a couple of things that you might be able to do to reduce the cost. If you go on the internet and you go to sites where people are looking for critiques of their work, where they're maybe starting out or at least haven't done it professionally or have mostly done it for friends, say, then you might find someone who'd be willing to do it either at a reduced cost or maybe even for free. So something like DeviantArt or the equivalent that's popular now would be a good idea, because this is a place where people are looking to get comments on their efforts. There'll be a lot of different types of artwork, a lot of different creative people would be using spaces like DeviantArt. In all possibility, they might be happy to exchange their efforts and work for you, promoting them as a book cover designer, and also to kind of maybe use in their own portfolios and their websites. Also, something like Wattpad has the Multimedia Design Club, and that's where people again might be willing to produce a book cover for you in exchange for a critique of their work. Except is that you're either going to have to pay or you're going to have to put in time and offer someone your time and expertise in some other way. That there's probably going to have to be some sort of exchange. People aren't going to do it absolutely for free. In terms of what you should be asking of this person, or kind of the deal you should strike with them, is one where you have a very clear idea of the conditions under which they will work, and there's kind of at least 2 things that pop into mind when you're doing this. You need to set a deadline. Of course, this part of the discussion might come later, but you definitely need to set some sort of deadline. It can't run on too long. You need to have enough time to get the work back, to consider it, and to send back suggestions and to rework it if necessary. You need enough time so that you can do all the other things that you're supposed to be doing in getting your work published. So make sure there's a deadline that you can both work with and that allows you enough space to consider the work that you're getting given to you, the drafts, the rough drafts, the mock-ups, whatever word you want to use, that you have enough time to look at it, consider it, and then ask for changes if necessary. And then another thing that you would want to look at is how many iterations or how many versions of the book cover will you be able to receive before you have to kind of pay additional money for extra work. Because I've had two different book cover designers, one for my educational textbook, What Now? Life the Leaving Cert, I'm Planning Your Next Steps, and another for Bedtime Stories for Grown-Ups. They were both different people and I was asking for different things from them, but I did, in both cases, we had to go back and forth a bit. The original drawings or the original designs weren't exactly what I was looking for. This was more particularly the case with the first one because I was I was trying to find my feet. I didn't really have 100% understanding, and I still don't, of what I needed to do for them in order to make their job easier. With the first one, I kind of just gave them a bit of a description of what I wanted and kind of a general theme or a general look that I wanted, but I didn't give them very much specifics, and that kind of showed when I got the first version, and it was fine, but it just didn't suit the kind of the text. It's an educational textbook, so you can't go too mad because potentially it'll be in schools. But at the same time it needs to draw the attention and be interesting. So we had to go back and forth a couple of times now. But if you don't know the person and it's more of a professional relationship without any sort of familiarity, then they might only give you 2-3 versions before you'll have to pay them again, because they're doing work for you. It mightn't be the work that you're going to finally agree on, but they are putting time into it, so they can't just keep doing versions and versions and versions forever and ever. So make sure that you know in advance how many versions you're going to be allowed to have before you have to either make a decision or pay some more money. By you doing a rough work up of what you want, including some sort of visual aid, the less versions you're likely to need getting done. Now, if you already have an idea in your head of what you want, but you just can't execute it, well then just do a really rough job in Paint. You could even just draw it and then scan it into the computer. If you're better with a pencil than you are with a mouse, do it that way. But if at all possible, and you have any sort of idea of what you want the book cover to look like, you should send them your kind of visual idea of what it is. Now, if you can't do that and you're not certain, then you have to send them maybe a couple of pictures of something that's similar to what you want. Similar in terms of it's in the same genre, or it's kind of, you like the visuals, the color use, or the layout. You need to send some visuals, I think, whether there's something you've created yourself or something you found on the internet. But between that and a fairly detailed description, you're more likely to get something more what you want. So make sure you do that. Because at the end of the day, you want to leave very little guessing work for the person, because that will require more time from them, which might increase the cost. And it also makes it more possible that what you get isn't what you're looking for. Now, if you know the person or you've seen their work and their general style and output is something you like, then it's possible that them being more creative without as much input from you will turn into gold. But there's a possibility it won't. So you have to just be very clear as to what you want, and they have to be clear with what they can offer you, and you have to know when you're going to get it back. And then the other thing is just returning to if it turns out that you are on a very tight budget, but you don't really know anyone, or you don't know anyone through someone else that could do the work for you, and you are going to have to pay something more like a professional price, then consider working with someone who's in a country that, they don't earn as much money. There's plenty of people who talk about subcontracting work they're doing to other places like India or Pakistan or somewhere in the Southeast Asia potentially. If you really can't afford it, but you want it professionally done, then you might want to consider that. I mean, a lot of people would say it's better to help someone find work in your own country, but if for whatever reason you can't do that, then maybe you should look on the internet to a place where the people don't earn as much, and what you give them will still be very good in comparison with what they could get from people in their own country. So that's maybe something to consider as well. If this podcast was useful to you, please check out the rest. If it was really useful, then consider making a donation. You can give a donation through PayPal, Gumroad, or my Patreon account. And if maybe you're looking for someone to help you with narration, some sort of audio project you have, then you can also get in touch with me. So I think that's it for today, folks. Take care of yourselves and each other. I've been Carul. I still am Carul. Goodbye.